Here we have our Northern Brewer beer equipment kit. This is our Brew, Share, Enjoy Homebrew Starting Kit, and comes from Northern Brewer. And this contains everything that I'm going to need to make a first-time batch of beer. Let's open it up and have a look inside. The first thing you'll see is your welcome package. And it's got a number that you can send a text to get instant help on getting guided through your first brew. And that's a really nice feature. Inside the envelope, we've got a lovely welcoming letter, and it explains Northern Brewer's family philosophy. We've also got our starter kit suggestions and useful tips, and on the back, an inventory of everything that's included in our starter kit. I'll be showing you that in a second. It also contains a really handy cheat sheet on how to make beer. It's got each of the steps illustrated very clearly and in plain language, and it goes on in the back to show you how to get your beer all the way into the bottle, right down to capping, cleaning, everything you need to do. This is laminated, it's plasticized, so it's going to withstand a brew day or two, and I would pin this up in my brewing area. These are really cool to have handy. That's those. Another thing that we've got is our Northern Brewer catalog. These change all the time. And I love it when I get a brand new one because I like looking at all the things that I could buy, all the recipes I'd like to make, and all the cool new gadgets and stuff that's in here. So I really actually look forward to these catalogs. And here is the beer ingredient portion of the kit. This one is the Block Party Amber Ale, and it comes with everything we need to turn it into 5 gallons or 19 liters of beer, including the priming sugar and the yeast, all the malt, everything we need. It doesn't include the bottles. Bottles are usually pretty easy to get, and they're big and heavy to ship, which is why they're not normally included in a beer kit. Also, some people have kegging systems, so including bottles in the kit wouldn't really serve them very well. If you're like me, it's not a difficult thing to accumulate a few extra beer bottles. You can clean them, sanitize them, and use them, or you can buy new if you want. Also here, there is again that text code that you can send on your brew day so you can get instant help. Fantastic idea. We'll open this up separately in just a minute. Inside the box, we've got several items. The first, and really kind of a cool thing, is this auto siphon. An auto siphon is the way of transferring or racking the beer from one container to another by means of gravity. So we attach a hose to the end of this, and we give it a pump just like a bicycle pump, and it will transfer the fluid from one vessel down to another one. The other thing we have down the side part here is a really impressive spoon. Stainless steel, very high strength, high quality, and the nice thing about it is you can stir boiling liquids and you needn't worry about getting scorched or scalded because you're still pretty far away from everything. I like a good spoon. Here we've got the first of our lids. This is for our fermenting bucket. And you'll notice this lid has a hole in it. So the lid seals tight to the top of the bucket, and this grommeted hole accepts an airlock which prevents contamination from getting in the beer while allowing fermentation gases to escape. I'll show you that. The second lid, sturdy stainless steel. This fits in on our 5-gallon brewing pot, which is just a little further down the box. Here we go. This is our Platinum Equipment Kit Guts. These are all the things that we're going to need to flesh out the rest of the brewing kit. We'll open this in a moment. Here's that airlock I talked about. This is a twin bubble airlock. So you fill it halfway with water, and the water pools down in this U-joint here. Fermentation gases come up, bubble through here, and escape through the top. This red thing's just a dust cover. You should leave it on because it helps prevent evaporation and prevents things from getting in there. But it does leak air like a sieve, so it doesn't trap any of the fermentation gases. So we have 2 fermenting buckets. The first one here is solid, and this is the one we do all of our fermenting in. And the beer will stay in there for 10 days to 2 weeks, depending on our recipe and what we're doing. The second bucket, the one nestled inside here, is a little tiny bit different. If we have a look at this bucket, it's got a hole in it. Yes, it reminds me of that old folk song, but that hole fits a valve that allows us to use this as a bottling bucket. So it's got a one-way valve on it, and you attach a bottling wand, and you can fill your beer bottles without any spilling fuss or negotiating with a siphon hose. It's a brilliant idea. The bottling bucket makes bottling day so much easier. And finally, we've got a 5-gallon, 20-quart stainless steel pot. Sturdy job, nicely riveted handles. That's going to hold our beer as we bring it to a boil to get the flavor from the hops and to sanitize the wort. Okay, let's have a look at the other stuff. And here's our Platinum Equipment Kit guts. This is most of the stuff that we're going to need to get our brew going. Right here on top, you'll see our bottle capper. Bottle cappers are pretty cool, kind of a kitchen appliance-y looking thing. Put a cap in here. Put it down over the top of a bottle. This is a magnet, by the way. It holds the cap in place. When we pull the levers down, the magnet retracts. The cap is forced down over the top of the bottle, and the little ridges grip it, and the bottle's sealed. Here are those bottle caps that go with it. These are Fermenter's favorite gold top caps. These are nice because you can always write on top of them in a Sharpie. Here's that spout I talked about earlier. This is the hose that comes with the auto siphon. We'll show you how that works. And this is a part of the process that's really cool. This is a siphon filler tip. How this works is, this is a one-way needle valve. And when the beer is flowing down this from the siphon rod, it stops. This little needle valve pokes out and the flow stops. When you push it into the bottom of a bottle and hit that needle, it flows. You pull it up, the needle valve pops out again, and the beer flow stops. That lets you fill the bottles very cleanly without any dripping or spills. This is some oxygen wash. Now, Fermenter's favorite oxygen wash is a really good cleaner. All you need. And here we have the airlock and the grommeted lid. I said I'd show you how this works. So it just fits in there like that. Easy peasy. It's a nice tight fit though. And you can see the water levels here. And so if we have fermentation gases building up in the bucket, they'll come up through here, make a bubble, and then that bubble will escape through the top. And that keeps everything out of the beer that's not supposed to be there. Here's our bottling bucket. Now we're going to take the valve and attach it. Here's what it looks like. Here's the valve, here's the way of closing and opening it, and there's a threaded nut in the back. If you've ever owned a picnic cooler with a drain on it, you'll recognize this pretty quickly. 2 silicone rings, one goes in like this. We're going to reach in behind, put the other silicone ring on the back, and then we're going to tighten that down. Finger tight if you've got strong fingers. Don't use a wrench because it's just plastic, you'll bend it. Get it nice and straight, and we're ready to go. And this is our assembled auto siphon. Easy to use. Into the liquid it goes, hose is attached, other end of the hose goes into our receiving vessel, which is below the height of the vessel it's coming from. One big stroke, and it pumps it out down the hose. Racking's done. Easy as that. And here's our brewer's box. As I said, it is the Block Party Amber, and it contains everything we need to make our beer. The first thing you'll see in here is our Maillard malts, and this is 6 pounds of liquid malt extract. So something else you'll see in here is a 20% off discount coupon for the next single item you purchase from Northern Brewer. That's very thoughtful. Here we have some brewing grain. So these are Maillard malts again, and this is the raw grain, pre-crushed, put in a vapor barrier package to keep it fresh. What we'll do with this is we are going to steep it in our brewing water in order to extract the grain character. So it's going to be toasty, it's going to be malty, and it's going to have an effect on the color and the aroma of the beer. It is really sort of the icing in a brew to top it off, to give it that lovely fresh grain character. And it's what makes these kits so lovely. Now, you can't just throw that into your brewing water or you will have porridge, which is very difficult to handle. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour it into this very convenient muslin sock. So it's closed at one end, it's got a seam. The other end, here, we open it up, we put our brewing grains in, inside, and we tie it very loosely. We tie it with as much slack as we can to keep the brewing grains loose in here. We don't want a tight ball of them. We want the water to circulate through the grains so that you can extract all the goodness. The other thing we've got here is our hops. These will be added to our boil. These are Willamette hops, which have a lovely earthy, kind of a fresh vegetation character to them. They are really a nice hop, and they're perfect for this kind of an ale. We'll be boiling those up. We also have our brewing yeast, and this yeast will, it's a lovely Muntons variety, and it'll give us that ale character that we're looking for. Rounded, rich, full-bodied, lovely malty aromatics. We've also got our corn sugar here. This corn sugar doesn't go into the brew, it goes into the bottles of beer. When we're all finished, we're going to take our beer that's been fermenting and we're going to rack it into a clean container, add all of this sugar, and then put it in the bottles. The remaining yeast from the fermentation will eat this sugar, produce carbon dioxide, and that's where we'll get our fizz from this corn sugar. Set that aside, we're going to need it later. And most importantly, we've got a really good set of instructions. Everything you need to know, from the original starting gravities, the days you need to do things, the procedures, it's all written right here in clear, plain English. These are some of the best brew kit instructions I've ever seen. I can't wait to make this beer.